What's up, everyone out there in the Outlaw Nation? I'm the Comic Outlaw, aka Jack Slater. You know who I am, the name of my game, yeah, my claim to fame. And we're doing Fantastic Four, number 42, yeah. To save you, I must kill you. And what will Reed Richards do now that Ben Grimm is in the clutches of the Frightful Four? Yes, they used his id machine on him and turned him into a monster on the inside and the out, yeah. And Ben Grimm has Reed Richards in his clutches as the Frightful Four encourages him to smash Reed Richards, to destroy him, to take his revenge upon everything that he's done to Benjamin J. Grimm, turning him from a human into the monster you see before you. And Ben gets ready to smash him as he's glued up to the wall, thanks to Trapper. He kind of expands his arm, to cushion the impact, and then he expands his whole body, kind of pushing out. And Ben doesn't know what to do with this situation. And keep in mind, the id machine does take away certain experiences, fighting ability, kind of dulls him out a little bit. Meanwhile, the Human Torch is sitting there in a machine that will douse him with water, but he has to try. So he flames on, burns out the water, and goes after his sister to rescue her, for she's in a plastic bubble that keeps her from using her force field. Yes, I said it. Comics, y'all. He uses his power to get her out. As Reed is expanding and expanding, the Human Torch shows out of nowhere, and they begin battling the Frightful Four, brother and sister, against the entire membership of the Frightful Four, while Ben and Reed square off. And this fight has been coming for a long time. Reed has done everything in the world to save Ben, but he's still responsible for the accident that made him what he is, as Medusa tries to capture Sue, and Sandman tries to deal with the Human Torch with the help of the Trapper, aka Pot Paste Pete. I'm not kidding, that was his name. Anyways, Reed kind of goads Thing into getting him mad, smashing the thing that he was stuck to, and this allows Reed to get out and stretch a bit more. He hits him with impact, with both legs, but it does really nothing to the Thing as he grips onto Reed. And this is a death grip. He's trying to squeeze every inch of life out of him, but Reed is stretching around trying to get him to let go. He slams him into anything he can, and after Ben is released, Ben grabs an entire wall and throws it at Reed. Yeah, you heard me. He grabbed an entire wall and threw it at Reed Richards. Reed kind of curls himself up into a rubber ball to absorb the impact as Thing goes after him. And I love how Thing just wads him up like a piece of garbage, puts him in a little metal thing, and just seals it in. I mean, that's just true Benjamin J. Grimm. Id machine or not, Thing will always find a way to kick someone's ass. But meanwhile, he goes after the Human Torch, and Sue and Johnny, they're putting up a great fight, but the numbers game always gets ahead of them. Even though Storm's fast, he's able to evade them with a few tricks here and there. With his speed, he's able to get them to kind of attack each other. But eventually, it's going to catch up to you. And as Sue is kind of dealing with Medusa, and they think they got the upper hand, a big flash of light comes out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, everyone's blind except for Torch, who kind of gave the signal, who did the flash. And Medusa's wetting her hair. And this is pretty brilliant. She wets her hair and then douses them out. And this is, you shouldn't shout, "Close your eyes," because of course the bad guys are going to listen. If they have any kind of brains, they're going to do it too. And of course they grab Johnny after they put him out, and Thing just literally bitch slaps him with one finger, knocks him out. And of course the Frightful Four are going to take him back to the id machine to change his mind too. Meanwhile, Sue is looking for the man she's going to marry, Reed Richards, and finds a little metal jar bouncing up and down like a jumping bean. And she grabs it, and she's trying to open it up, but it's screwed on too tight. Thing made sure when he hit that lid that it was going to stay on. Meanwhile, they're bringing Johnny to the id machine using that little flying contraption the wizard has. And of course, Thing gets a little annoyed with the trapster and gives him a nice big pat on the back because his paste is going everywhere and knocks him out. And the wizard seems to be happy with Thing becoming a bad guy, as does Medusa. She's kind of crushing on him. Meanwhile, they wake the Trapper up by dumping a little water on him as Medusa lights Thing's cigarette. And Sandman's getting a little jealous here. I mean, boys will be boys, and if there's a redhead in the room, two guys are going to fight over her. Just ask Wolverine. Meanwhile, the wizard emerges with Johnny Storm, their new member. I guess you could call him the Frightful Six. But meanwhile, Sue Storm has braced the metal jar against a tree, and she's using her powers, her force field powers, to pull on the lid, and she pulls and pulls and pulls, and Thing And finally Reed gets out, being able to breathe now. But it knocks Sue out. She used all of her power to do that. They need a rest. They're both taxed beyond their limits. Meanwhile, the Frightful Four, or the Frightful Six, are kind of just going over what, how they're meeting everyone. And Torch almost lights her hair on fire. He kind of doesn't know the limits of his power, since the id machine kind of dolls out your experiences. But out of nowhere, they get gassed. Reed had found these canisters stashed away in their garage, of course, and some floating discs as well. So his plan is to gas them out, and then use the disc against them, as the wizard has against them in the past, using these discs to kind of attach and surprise them by flying around back and forth. And as they're flying around the air, they grab Ben Grimm, and Sue says that she can see the hatred in his eyes from the id machine as they try to think of a way to bring him back. They hold on to him, their member, their family, but Reed has no idea right now how to bring him back. But the wizard has one more trump card up his sleeve. He sends in Johnny Storm, and he flames on, and he wants to incinerate all of them, per the wizard's command. And as the wizard witnesses his machine, he realizes that he's unstoppable as long as he can control certain members, certain heroes. And as all hell begins to break loose, Storm flies above in the distance and lets down a fury of fire as hell that rains down upon the Fantastic Four. Will they live, or will they be incinerated in the blast? Has the Frightful Four finally won? We'll find out the next time, won't we? And I'll catch you on the flip side.